Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to the North American Mania Tournament 2023. We're back at it with the second part of this super block for Saturday for the quarterfinals. And we're back with a losers bracket match. This time we've got Envy going against I Love REQUIS 3. The warm-ups were played in the background, so we're now in the protect and ban sequence. It'll be interesting to see how these players do. A lot on the line as they try and punch their ticket into the second half of this quarterfinals weekend to see if they can make it to the semifinals. As always, my name is Barkade. I am joined in the commentary booth once again by Walmart5193. Walmart, how you doing?
Hello, hello, hello. It just feels like a couple minutes ago we were doing that match against Halogen and Hello Sun. We did go by the protects and bans between I Love REQUIS 3 and Envy. I believe I Love REQUIS 3 won the role, so they got to choose if they want to protect or ban first. And I Love REQUIS 3 protected Rice 6 and banned LN3. While Envy protected LN1 and banned Rice 1. And we're immediately going into Rice 4 from I Love REQUIS 3.
Yeah, I think we're going to see another one of those LN versus Rice matchups. At least based on the protects and the bans and this first pick giving away just a little bit of information. Be interesting to see if there was any practice put into this. Always love to see players sight reading things during the match.
Yeah, especially if this match does go to the tiebreaker. Would be pretty funny if someone did sight read the tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's always that double-edged sword where it's like if you practice, you have the risk of mind blocking stuff, but if you don't practice, then you can't mind block anything. So we'll see how it pays off in their favor if they decided to go into this with just pure sight reads. And right now, this introduction, treating both players pretty well. We're neck and neck before we cross that 400 combo cap. Envy finding a couple of 200s in this introduction, but plenty of map to go.
Yeah, as I Love REQUIS 3 having a pretty well accuracy out of the first 400 combo of this chart. Like you mentioned, it's just Envy finding a bit of struggle with those 200s at the very beginning, but we just started out. There is lots of map to go. As we can see, this gap is very, very tiny between these two.
Yeah, but a 10% separating these two players. As we continue on into the second quarter of the chart, these patterns basically jump stream oriented with a couple of embellishments here and there, a couple of LNs thrown in, just keep you on your toes, but not the most difficult in the world to hit, but always a cause for concern. You don't want to find a slider break in a Rice chart, so we'll see how these players continue. Both FCs still left on the board, and this lead is still very negligible on the side of I Love REQUIS 3.
Yeah, I Love REQUIS 3 actually slowly dropping in accuracy a bit, but now with this little break section, I believe both accuracies will begin to climb up. I think it will take just 1-200 from I Love REQUIS 3, or maybe even a miss, just to swing that lead over to Envy. Like I Love REQUIS 3 said himself, he is sight reading this, so pretty wild for a sight read. I Love REQUIS 3.
Yeah, 99.82 to 99.74, that gap widening just a little bit once again, about to cross into that 1/10th range as Envy finds the break, going to the last third of the chart. A pretty nasty one as well, falling about 0.3% and really cushioning this lead that I Love REQUIS had from the get-go here.
Yeah, I Love REQUIS 3 starting to run away with this lead now, but there is still lots of map left to go. Envy finding another break. There's only just a quarter of the map left. There's lots of room for mistakes, but it just takes a matter of how severe will it be. Even if you do break, there's only this final part left, and it's really leading towards I Love REQUIS 3. It's gonna take a lot, even just for Envy to have a chance.
Yeah, barely crossing over that 400 combo cap at the moment. A lot more hands get thrown and things start to basically spiral out of control in this outro, and both players handling it very well. I Love REQUIS still holding on to the FC, crossing that 3,000 combo mark at 9.78 accuracy for them, and the fact that this is a sight read is insane. 993 to start things off 0-1 in favor of I Love REQUIS 3. 3 200s
3.
Three.
Okay, I feel like he might be incorrect about sight reading all this. As Envy, no, not shy at all, immediately jumping to their protect. LN1, which is Hera.
Yeah, Hera is a bit of a nightmarish chart, and
Wait, wait,
no,
I think that might have
was
been.
it was the protect. It was just a typo on the client. So
Yeah, I was a bit nervous there. As this is a very, I feel like the main problem that everyone has with this chart is the ending, especially with those
sure.
anchors, like those anchors on both sides of the far columns, really slipping up players. And even if you have the right release on hand, it is very easy to find a chain of bad judgments. But
Oh,
here
for
we go.
sure.
Oh, I love
Ooh.
REQUIS immediately starting this map with a break.
Yeah, first couple of notes not going their way here. Gonna start them off at a disadvantage right from the get-go here. Envy taking that lead right from the get-go and starting to expand on it. 99.7 for them, 98.9 for I Love REQUIS. The good thing is, oh, I was about to say, it was very early on, but that break's actually start doing some damage now that they both crossed over that 400 combo cap, and it's basically a game of comfort at the moment as we get into the first real break of the song.
Yes, I love REQUIS 3 down to the mid 98s, finding a slider break. You would think that that was way too clean to be like a intentional break. That would probably be more of a, maybe more of a keyboard input, but
Yeah.
without much being said, Envy 99.5. But here come the more timing parts of this chart. This more back half is more of a timing hell than anything. 99.5 for I Love REQUIS, almost down to the 97 range.
Yeah, I think for I Love REQUIS, it's one of those like conservative stamina type of moments where it's like, yeah, you try and read through it as best as you can, but really you're trying not to overexert yourself, not to mentally tire yourself out either. You're just kind of going through the motions a little bit, just trying to keep it in that range that you're comfortable with without really pushing too hard, because you know you still have quite a couple of maps to go. And this is the, oh my goodness, Envy, what are you doing? This is
Envy nailing this section.
and
hits the trail.
Yeah,
that transition as well.
That is the hardest part of the song, and making it look relatively easy, only taking a little bit of damage to their accuracy down to that 99.4 range. But I mean, the damage had already been done way in advance. At that point, just being able to hold on to the FC here for this long, can they keep it going? There's only a tiny bit of this chart left to go. Oh, the long jacks as well. 980 for Envy to respond back.
That was a
That was
wicked
clean.
score. I feel like I'm not going to be leaking any scores here, but I will. Oh, I don't even have the screenshot. Never mind. I can't brag.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No need to. Here is now tied 1-1.
Yeah, we are tied 1-1. It is I Love REQUIS's pick. But would not be surprised if they immediately jump into maybe something like Sense would be definitely be on the board for a pick. I think out of all the charts, it will probably be Fidelity Crisis that gets ignored the most from the race here. But I love REQUIS trying to go for a Rice 1, but Banelings indeed.
Yeah, that was new from existence in this match, so an illegal action has been taken. Gonna need to choose another chart here. I wouldn't be surprised if just Kamihara algorithm came out. It's like, okay, it's right next to it. Yeah. Right to it. It's right next to it. No need to think about it too much.
As this will be your jump stream pick. Really dense one as well. I believe this is... Actually, I believe this is the same as the one from round of 16, just more dense overall. This is 230 BPM, and last one was actually just 215.
Yeah, really starting to push the limits for some players remaining in this tournament. But I mean, those in the upper end of the seedings, that is probably still well within like warm-up territory for them. So let's see how these two do.
Yeah, and winner of this match goes up against Minwoo in their conditionals and also secures a spot in the top 16. But here we go into with Algorithm. As we see in a very dominant start from both players, it's just that I Love REQUIS does have the accuracy advantage in this first 400 combo, 99.95, as Envy holding on quite well. I believe this is somewhere in Envy's comfort zone when it comes to Rice.
Yeah, it's always a risk you take whenever you pick stuff like this. When your opponent can handle the BPM as well, you know you need to basically hyper-focus on the ratio as you make your way through. A miss or even 200s can spell the end of your run, and both these players basically neck and neck. The closest we've seen these two so far within 500% of each other going into the second third of the chart. And it's basically more of the same here. A couple of hands get thrown in, the jump streams start to break up just a little bit, give you a bit of a reprieve from the constant flow, but in some cases that can actually be a bad thing because you start to break up your momentum in playing and trying to keep the speed going. And we see 200 being dropped from Envy.
Yeah, that is just going to increase the lead slightly for I Love REQUIS, but look at this accuracy. It's only 0.06% of a difference. You would imagine maybe even just the slightest early or late hit from I Love REQUIS will just destroy everything in their way, but as they stand, they find only just the slightest accuracy drop with these 300s, starting to rush a bit.
Yeah, the nerve starts to get to you, the adrenaline really starts to build up, especially as you make your way into this final PI, 99.86, 99.91, still within 500%. This lead is basically negligible as I Love REQUIS finds the break. Envy's back though!
Yeah, as that miss was way more bad than I Love REQUIS's miss, but yeah, there is not much map left as I Love REQUIS is going to take 990 even with the miss, even with that 1-200. What are you doing? What is that ratio?
Oh my goodness, that is way too close for comfort, and I Love REQUIS dodging a bullet there, probably closer than they were expecting, and they make it 2-1 now.
As it's now Envy's pick. Won't be surprised if they go for the final remaining LN pick. Maybe going for Invincible or switch it up and go for something tricky like X.
Yeah, remaining
yeah, it's either Invincible or go home, basically. As I Love REQUIS 3 asks the $1 million question, and it's going to be a long note too.
Yeah, unsurprising here. Envy's sticking with the LNs. And like we saw in the last match, it's definitely a comfort test for a lot of players. You can maybe hit the patterns relatively well, but keeping the accuracy is going to be of the utmost importance as we get the colors corrected on stream.
Yeah, these releases are definitely something to be taken with just not a grain of salt, but pretty much the entire bag, the entire shaker.
Yeah, just guzzle the entire thing, but right now the player's ready. MP Start Command comes out. We're going to get into this fourth map of this best of 9. Currently, I Love REQUIS ahead. Envy looking to try and restore parity.
Here we go.
Here we go. With Invincible. As like we said, this chart is the more release focused chart as Envy holding on 100% for even quite a while, as map is only just shy of that or just over 2 minutes. But even at the beginning being very release based, as I love REQUIS 3 just not having a fun time on this chart already finding the first drop, almost down to that 96 range now.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those where trying to coordinate those releases and the reverse shields really do start to chip away at your comfort, and your fingers aren't perfectly positioned at all times. It's definitely a cause for those slider breaks to come out as we see them drop down into that 96% range. Very easy to climb back up, but just as easy to fall back down as Envy finds a break as well. But the damage is already being done. A very healthy lead for them going into the second third of the chart, dropping down into the 98% range, but still 2% ahead of their counterpart.
Yeah, and here we go into the Dorito section of the chart. This is where it will pretty much matter the most as these Doritos come in.
Yeah, all these staggered release starts as well. Both players managing it very well, both over that 400 combo cap once again, gonna get full credit for their judgments, but right now, definitely one player more comfortable than the other as I Love REQUIS finds a break on the transition out of that section back into these more core jacky type patterns. Last quarter of the chart still upcoming, and I mean the gap has narrowed just a little bit, but there's really not much I Love REQUIS can do to try and mount a comeback, especially with these last couple of drops coming through here.
Yeah, final section, these very weird, awkward releases.
Yeah, kind of.
Envy just comboing through all this right now.
And as we make our way into the outro here, basically a foregone conclusion very early on. It was just a matter of putting the performance together, and Envy notches it up 2-2 now.
Wait, I Love REQUIS 3 out-ratioed Envy?
Oh wow, that's actually insane to see. The 200 count really tells a different story there, though.
Yeah, definitely the 200 count going to play a big role in this.
Yeah, so I Love REQUIS. Fortunately, no more LN picks or Envy to go into, so it'll have to be the hybrids from here on out, but I Love REQUIS is going to go for Orbital Strike.
Yeah, you could always go for X for a hybrid pick. As I believe that chart is more LN focused. I know there is that awkward anchor section and those really fast trills on the left and right hand side. Those fast one-hand trills. But it's always a safe pick if you're more LN oriented and have no more picks. But here we go with Orbital Strike. As we're relatively tied.
Yeah, very strong start for both of these players. Not a lot separated through this introduction, but Envy going to be finding a very nasty drop on that burst in this intro. And it was just after that 400 combo cap had been reached, so I Love REQUIS was going to be securing themselves a bit of an advantage very early on here.
Yeah, just reaching over that 400 combo cap now. As this is where, they're only a quarter of the chart in. As this map is 3 minutes long, so there is lots of room for mistake for I Love REQUIS to drop down to Envy's level. But the question is, will Envy continue to find those breaks?
Remains to be seen as we get into this first big drop here going into the second third of the chart. Both of them managing it very well. I Love REQUIS finally finds the drop, but Envy trades it back here, not able to capitalize on the opportunity to try and bring themselves back into this map, and it is still about 0.7% between these two. But one's climbing, one's dropping here. The margin is starting to close up just a little bit in terms of the accuracy, but those misses are really keeping I Love REQUIS ahead for the moment.
Yes, I love REQUIS 3 at a 99.65. Despite finding that drop as Envy did trade it back, both players are at that 99 section, but Envy finds another break. Now onto the low 99s of this chart as that lead begins to increase for I love REQUIS 3.
Yeah, continuing on, still half the chart left to go. Not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely a bit to work with here if you are I Love REQUIS 3 and you take this opportunity to basically collect yourself before you make it into that final gauntlet of this chart.
Yeah, final third of the map. As I love REQUIS 99.6 now, only finding 0.05% of a drop there, as Envy now has a bit of a chance to keep up. They're gonna have to have a phenomenally good run on this final section, as I love REQUIS 3 is gonna have to have the complete opposite.
Yeah, they do have that virtue of being over that 400 combo cap, so gonna be able to chip away at this lead just a little bit here, but the margin, the fact that I Love REQUIS has been able to keep this run relatively cleaner when they have dropped, it has been only hundreds of % of the marker, but that was a massive drop. Envy once again not able to capitalize on the opportunity, finding a break in return. And as this chart comes to an end, I think that is going to be all she wrote for this map. I Love REQUIS again playing with a little bit of fire with these picks, but able to come through in the end. As this one finishes up, it will be 3-2.
As we went from having a pretty much clear winner to just about 13,000 points of difference near the end.
Yeah, you can't take any of these maps for granted anymore. There are no free points in this tournament, and I Love REQUIS makes it, or keeps the lead for now. Envy now with the task of trying to find something that isn't an LN pick to go into to maintain.
I mean, like I mentioned, there is X on the board, but they're gonna go for X 7,124, or as what I like to call it, Nelv number 3.
That's a very interesting way of putting it, but
I mean,
I can't disagree with you.
I mean, what, they have Nelv, Shirno Hazama, and now this, and I believe they're all the same PPM too. This is 180. I think Nelv is also 180.
That's a fair point. I can't argue with that. So we're going into our first hybrid of this match, and hopefully there aren't 71-24 misses. I don't think there are that many notes in this chart, but I digress. Envy looking to try and maintain parity here with I Love REQUIS. I Love REQUIS trying to find this first breakpoint to avoid potentially going to that tiebreaker. As things stand, I mean, these two are on a collision course.
Yeah, I mean, the tiebreaker being undeniably the essence of all tournaments, there is still that is pretty much the biggest nerve grabber right there. And this is, like you mentioned way at the beginning, this is a loser's bracket match, so a lot is on the line for both these players, as Envy has the slightest of leads out of this beginning. I believe I Love REQUIS 3 did drop a 200 at the beginning, but probably having the better ratio in hand against Envy, especially with this map being more Rice focused. This is about I would say probably puberty, but like on steroids. But oh, I Love REQUIS 3 finds a miss.
Yeah, it's going to help give Envy a bit of a cushion to work with when we do get back into the more Rice-oriented patterns in this chart. But right now, really reaping the rewards of this LN-based section. I Love REQUIS finding that slider break, going to drop her actually down just a little bit and trying to maintain their consistency through this more LN-heavy focus section, transitioning into the back half of the chart now. And the margin has widened to about 0.6% between these two players.
That was a clean LN run from I Love REQUIS 3 on that one section, but it's just that there's only so much map left. We're in the back half, and it was at 99.75 into this final section.
Yeah, those really words.
Yeah, into the Shuno Hazama section.
Yeah, a bit more speed oriented, and they've shown that they can keep up with these more speedy single note streams, a couple of jumps thrown in just for good measure, but when it transitions into the LNs, it's really where they can start to regain any of the accuracy that they lose. But they're still in that 99.7 mark. FC still intact as well. Isle of Reckless has been trying to claw their way back in, but really hasn't found a way to climb back up. 99.2 for them, able to mitigate any more drops, but I mean, as it stands, first hybrid getting thrown out here from Envy and working out in their favor in spades. A very clean run to make it 3-3. Oh, as I say that, okay, I'll take responsibility for that one. Spoke a little bit too soon, but
Blame Sparky.
it wouldn't be a proper weekend.
As yet again, I love REQUIS 3 finding the better ratio, but not by much. It was only by 25.
Yeah, but the 200 counts really making the difference here. 3-28. And that's really where most of that score difference came from outside of that miss very early on.
The only thing that makes sense here is Isle of REQUIS 3 going for Sense. I don't know if they have the comfort to play Identity Crisis. Oh, and they're actually going to go for Identity Crisis. Never mind.
A bit of a...
That's a bit of a oddball.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think both charts have their own... both distinct structures, and I feel like this one might just be the lesser of two evils for Isle of REQUIS. That, or maybe in the 50-50, maybe a bit of a coin flip.
Yeah.
This is just what ended up coming.
This is secretly our Jack pick. We have introduced core Jack picks into our tournament. I don't know if you heard it in the map pool showcase.
That's one way to put it, but...
The FFR Classic. From yours truly, High 19. Never fails to let us down.
For sure. A mainstay, especially when it comes to tournaments. It wouldn't be a proper tournament without a High 19 pick somewhere.
Yeah, and as we see right now, both players actually having a well beginning, Envy finding more 200, and the first Jack really gonna come up soon. Those are pretty much just surprises, and there was one of them. Here comes another one.
As those Envy, long jacks.
Oh, that really took a toll on Envy's accuracy. Going from a 99.6 to a 99.2, hitting very late as they find a break.
Yeah, trying to maintain some of these jumps out of those long jacks. Definitely not for the faint of heart, and we continue on. That's only the first quarter of the chart. This is a 3-minute long map, and there's definitely some comfort being exerted here. Isle of REQUIS 99.85, definitely able to handle these mini jack anchors far better than Envy for the moment.
Yeah, as a little bit of a break section now with you have a little bit of a chance now to claim that lost accuracy back.
Yeah, starting to climb up just a little bit in this slowdown. Everything normalized for your reading comfort. As Envy about to cross into that 99.4 range. Isle of REQUIS still standing tall. 99.86 for them as things start to pick up once again. These hands thrown in intermittently through all these bursts. And Isle of REQUIS finding a couple of breaks here, but ooh, that one hurts also. I was about to say, keeping it relatively clean, but dropping a grand total of about 0.2%. And it does narrow this lead a little bit. We're getting into that situation kind of like Orbital Strike, where it looked very comfortable very early on, but now Envy's in with a bit of a shout here. Has the combo to work with as Isle of REQUIS starts to try and climb back up, and has made a significant dent in this lead going into the last quarter of the chart. Oh, and another drop from Isle of REQUIS.
Uh-oh, things are really starting to look bad as the lead goes to Envy with the combo.
Able to keep it together, but Envy finds a drop.
I take blame for this one.
Yeah, that roll not treating him too well. I think getting out of that into the next jump might have been the cause for the break. And as we make our way into the last level of the chart, neither player above that 400 combo cap just yet. So REQUIS not able to solidify this lead. Does eventually cross over, but these last couple of bursts, definitely got to watch out. Oh, and he finds a massive drop.
Yeah,
and that might be all she wrote.
Oh, wait, what? Huh?
Okay.
Both players. But, oh my goodness, there just wasn't enough map left. As I was taking it to match point.
That was a very scary run from I Love REQUIS. A couple of yeah, that's very easy to throw away runs like that, and
pretty much
I think
explains everything.
If Envy had managed to keep that final staircase roll clean and not trade back that miss, I think there might have been enough chart left for them to take it. 8,000 points of difference does not tell the full story of that chart, and we're gonna go back down into the hybrids. Hybrid 3 coming out insane.
Yeah, this is insane.
Oh, the jokes write themselves at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta thank you, Sal, for that one. As this is, I believe, the longest map in the pool besides Tiebreaker.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. 3.5 minutes to get through, and both these players showing comfort on their ends of the skill set. And one of two situations happens here. I Love REQUIS picks up the first and only breakpoint of this match to end it right here and now, or we go to tiebreaker.
Yeah, another seeing. I believe we had another tiebreaker earlier. I believe that was with Shadow GM and Cow. Shadow GM winning in the end. So will not be surprised if we see maybe another tiebreaker come in for this.
Yeah, the losers bracket is shaping up to be very competitive at this point. A lot of players basically overlapping in terms of skill sets and physicality. So prime breeding ground for these tiebreakers to come out. So the players are ready. We're going to get into the final pick of this match.
Here we go with insane final pick of regulation. I feel like this was a bit of a risky pick from Envy. Hybrid 1 is, I would say, would be the better option since it's more along the related and more easy to slip up for, especially seeing I Love REQUIS finding lots of breaks very easily. But I mean, maybe try to test his consistency with this.
Yeah, right now both players staying very consistent through this introduction. Inseparable at the moment. As I said, we get into a bit of an LN-oriented section, and we see it. Same story we have been seeing throughout this match. As soon as the LN starts to come out, Envy really starts to pull away just a little bit. It is 0.2%, but this lead is very minor between these two.
Yeah, Envy having the accuracy advantage for now, 99.75, as I Love REQUIS not too far behind. It's about 0.2% separating these two right now.
Yeah, and I think this is really setting the stage for what may be to come, where we always have those, like the tiebreaker itself is more of a hybrid-oriented map by nature, and I think in the battle between these two, when you throw in the LNs, I think Envy has an advantage. I want to call it too early, but as we make our way into the last half of this chart, it is still 0.2%. Both players maintaining their FCs for the moment. This lead is still definitely surmountable. Envy not out of the woods just yet in terms of their performance. Needs to maintain this momentum that they've built up, but As I said, I Love REQUIS finds the break.
Yeah, and right at the back half of the chart, not the best place to miss. Maybe if it was right at the beginning, it would have been acceptable, but now we only have just half the back half of the map left to go, just a third now, as Envy could run away with this.
Yeah, you still definitely need to keep it clean. Cannot afford to find a drop in response here, but as it stands, that definitely hasn't picked up to the full density we have been seeing from earlier. So there's still time for the players to build up their accuracy. I Love REQUIS back up with that 400 combo cap, and Envy finds a slider break into the last quarter. Oh, but I Love REQUIS takes it back. Oh, the shoes on the other foot. They're trading back and forth, and this time the trades work out in Envy's favor. No harm, no foul. They do have the combo advantage once again. They're going to cross that 400 combo cap first, and they're going to get back up with that 99.7 mark. It is still 0.3% between these two players, but as we have seen, they are not infallible. This is still anybody's game.
There's only just a bit of map left. There is still room for mistakes from Envy if I Love REQUIS wants to take this and move on and eliminate Envy from the tourney, but it's not likely as Envy's holding on, and I think it's pretty much set in stone that we are going to a tiebreaker.
Oh my goodness, these two have been inseparable, working their own picks to perfection. Envy finding the road through to this tiebreaker after basically eliminating that LN pool very early on, and oh boy.
Get these pings ready.
Yeah,
gotta get the ping ready.
Extra judgment.
Yeah, at everyone. Tiebreaker now. Join.
It has been 8 maps up, 8 maps down. No breakpoints between these two, both winning their own picks respectively.
Has Envy admitting to wait, has Envy actually played the tiebreaker every single round ever since round 32?
That's a interesting stat to try and keep track of.
Hold on. Envy, hold on, I'm doing my research. No, Envy got sweeped by Link. They only had to play the tiebreaker once against Shadow GM.
Alrighty, so with that being said, the players are ready. Longest map in this pool. Not the longest one we've had in this tournament so far, just over 5 minutes, but definitely a tough one. The nerves at an all-time high between these two players. Tournament life on the line, winner a date with Minwoo with a chance to punch their ticket into the semifinals later this weekend.
I believe that is a conditional match. I believe it will be... I think this is their first match.
Yes.
So yeah, they'll have to play later on in the weekend. I believe the times have been scheduled for 18 UTC tomorrow. As we see Envy finding early 200s, but so is I Love REQUIS. I Love REQUIS actually finds a break that looked really dicey, though. That could have been a client break, seeing how client was freezing for a bit, but the combo was not resetting. It looks like it was an actual drop from I Love REQUIS.
Yeah, you imagine as we get into these dense rice sections, it's going to be I Love REQUIS' chance to regain some of their accuracy, try and catch Envy out. But when it comes to these LN sections, Envy has had it on lock. So right now, the margin about 0.5% between these two players. Envy with the early advantage, as both players are over that 400 combo cap. Envy still holding on to the FC very early on here, but we're still not done with the first quarter of the chart. Anything can still happen, as we have seen so far during this tournament. Even leads like this are not insurmountable by any stretch of the imagination. Oh, and there it is, the drop from Envy.
Well, yeah, break from Envy, really going to almost swing the lead over to I Love REQUIS, but I believe if I Love REQUIS finds a break just anywhere here, that will immediately keep or extend that lead for Envy, as Envy does have the accuracy lead by 0.4% right now. Oh, baby finds
Ooh.
another break. Things are really gonna slim up here.
Yeah, this is I Love REQUIS's opportunity to try and close up this advantage. I always like to say, anytime there's a drop, it usually takes about 0.2% to overcome it. And Envy only just now going across that 400 combo cap can mitigate some of this bleeding of their score lead. And they take a breath, compose themselves. It is 0.3% the lead for Envy, but I think they found more of the drops here, so playing with fire here going into this second third of the chart cannot afford to find any more breaks, because you would imagine I Love REQUIS is right there to swing the lead back over, but I Love REQUIS actually going to be one finding the slider breaks on the slow LN coordination section. And put a bit of a damper on things. The ball rolling back down the hill.
I Love REQUIS finding more and more breaks on these LNs, on these very short ones too, and slow ones as well, like you mentioned, as Envy is holding on to combo. It looks like the tables have turned. It's now Envy the one holding accuracy, holding combo, and not I Love REQUIS.
Yeah, all those stuttered releases really catching I Love REQUIS out there as we transition back into a more traditional LN Density-esque section. And Envy really expanding their lead going into the last third here. Still about 0.4%. Not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination, but this is, I think, the largest lead they've had so far in this map.
As back half of the chart, Envy really taking this lead now. 99.2 to 98.7. Things are really getting pretty wide now for Envy. Having a widened lead, I believe. I Love REQUIS finds more misses. Lots of misses in that section, as there's only a quarter of the map left. Envy just needs to hold on. They cannot let go now.
Yeah, for sure. I Love REQUIS straining there towards the end of that last section, transitioning back. I think they got their fingers back out under them, but the damage is being done here. Another couple of drops.
Ooh.
It's at the end of the phrases that it feels like they lose their way a little bit, and it's really causing significant amounts of damage into that mid 98% range. Envy still above that 99.2 for them, and they have looked very comfortable in the transitions back into a bit more of a Rice heavy section. It is their opportunity to try and maintain. If they can hold here, I think they've done just enough.
Yes, they are. Oh, but Envy finds a miss, or more. I think like 2 misses on that section, but it did not really hurt their accuracy. And Envy going to move on to their conditional match against Minwoo. We're gonna have to say goodbye to I Love REQUIS 3 as the map slows down. There's no more chart left, nothing left besides these short, besides these very light patterns.
And when all is said and done, Envy punches their ticket into the second half of quarterfinals, as you had mentioned. Gonna be facing off against Minwoo tomorrow to see who will be advancing to the semifinals. Unfortunately, this is the end of the line for I Love REQUIS 3. Commiserations to them, but that was a hell of a fight between these two outstanding players.
As only one REQUIS remains, and that's I Love REQUIS 5.
I think they play
NEP.
later on. Yeah, they play against NEP in the winners bracket, so not a lot on the line there. But that will do it for this match. We have another one coming up in about 10 minutes. Once again, congratulations to Envy. Weekend not done yet for them, but a step in the right direction, as coming up at 20 UTC, another losers bracket match is going to be on Mr. Moo going up against the entirety of Switch Chat at 20 UTC. But until then, catch your breath, get some water, maybe have a snack, and we'll catch you guys later.
Yep, so long everybody.